With this episode, I'll be bringing this video series on the nature of mind to its conclusion. I've spoken a lot about the mind. And thank you if you've stuck around with me and watched all of these episodes. I realize it's not something that resonates with everyone, which is fine. And even if you haven't watched all these episodes, you can always come back and watch it at your own pace. There's a lot of information here, so digest the information slowly. So, I've been using the label mind a lot in this video series, obviously given the title. But I want you to drop this label mind. And you may have your own label for what you call this thing that I'm calling the mind. You may call it consciousness, awareness, presence, God, the larger mind, the transpersonal mind. Whatever label you may have for it, you do realize that ultimately labels and definitions are they just as pointers. They are pointing at something, mind in this case. But ultimately, to know what this mind is, both personally as your own mind and the larger mind, you would need to be this mind. You would need to look beyond the label, beyond the definition, beyond metaphors and analogies. These are all necessary. Labels are necessary to express an idea, express a concept. We need to vocalize what we are trying to say into language. But again, all analogies are simply pointing at something, and we need to look beyond the pointer, beyond the label, the metaphor or the analogy, and look at what it's pointing to. And when I'm pointing to mind, I am pointing to something that is not a thing, that is beyond things, beyond perceptions. It is simply being. It is simply a presence of being. And really, if you think about it, if we are not representing what we have in mind, then we are simply being in silence. And so silence is the ultimate arbiter of the truth. When you are silent, you are no longer representing or expressing the truth. You are simply being the truth. You are embodying the truth. But of course, if I just sit here and not say anything, then that won't get us anywhere, right? So I have to express, I have to vocalize, I have to use language, metaphors, labels, definitions to try to get you to look at or try to understand what I'm pointing to when I talk about this mind. And let these labels and metaphors and analogies take you by the hand to a certain location from where you can then proceed on your own and gain your own insights. And that is where the magic happens. When you actually proceed on your own and you generate your own insights, when the dots connect, so to speak, and this new understanding starts to take shape in mind. This is where the actual magic happens. This understanding, this insight, it goes beyond language. It literally goes beyond language. But then what we want to do is we want to try to express that understanding. We want to put it into words. And that, in a sense, tarnishes. It blurs the understanding. It blurs the truth. The truth can never really be expressed. It can only be experienced. It can only be known. Because any which way you try to reveal the truth, you can only do it in the form of a map or a model or a language, a representation. So the best way to know the truth is to simply become the truth, to be the truth. Because remember, even you as mind, you are prior to thoughts and ideas and understanding and labels and definitions. You are before all of that. All of that are contents of mind. All of that are representations. Language is something you have to learn. But who is it that learns? It's the mind. You are mind. You are there before you learn to express yourself in language. So you are ground zero. You are that cognitive Big Bang, the singularity from which everything originates. Even time as you perceive it. You are always in the present moment. And from the present moment, from that presence originates what you label as the past and the future. But that's a whole other video to talk about. So it all starts with you. And when I say you, I am speaking to that part of you that is aware and knows that it is aware. That part of you that goes beyond even the physical. The part of you that is mind. So drop all labels and definitions and know who you are by simply being as you are.